a freshman leader, and they're just putting it together.
Mississippi State also good in the circle, as we mentioned. And one of their pitching leaders this year is in the circle tonight, the sophomore Marin, who on the very first pitch gets a ground out off the bat of the dangerous Lourdes Bacon. One pitch, one out, and that's how the top of the first begins.
And it kind of starts how it was for them during the weekend. Something to Salem Hawkins, who also played very well on defense, able to make the play, toss it to first for out number one.
And there you see on your screen the numbers this year for Marin, the sophomore right-hander. Very impressive stuff, ERA of under 2. She and Aspen Wesley have been a very good 1-2 pitching combo so far this year for head coach Samantha Rickett. Strike one delivered as the leading hitter on the team for the Warhawks, Karis Platt, steps in for the first time tonight. Showing bunt, Platt hits it foul, and she is quickly in the hole, 0-2. Hold up, they may call her out. No, I'm sorry, they're going to call illegal pitch, aren't they? Yeah, so it's not going to be an 0-2 count, but a 1-1 count, and that immediately will bring Bulldog pitching coach Taryn Mowat-McKinney out of the MSU dugout for a conversation. A very short conversation. First-year pitching coach, Taryn Mowat-McKinney. So the count's going to be 1-1. Illegal pitch was called by our third base umpire, Laura King. As you see the lineup for the Warhawks, Bacon and Platt, a really good, Cody, 1-2 combination for ULM at the top of that order.
Yeah, and you see Platt second in her conference behind a batter who is 1 of 1 on the season, so take that as you want, but played very well this year.
Yeah, a .471 hitter is Platt coming in, but she hits one on the ground left side that Edwards gloves easily and throws across in time, and there are 2 gone quickly in the top half of the first. And it brings up the number 3 hitter in the order, the freshman from Katy, Texas, Megan Brown. We talked about MSU's freshman Hawkins in the open. The Warhawks have their own stellar freshman in Megan Brown, .365 hitter through the first 25 ball games.
Yeah, that top 3 in this lineup, .365 being the lowest batting average, so at that top of the order, really able to get on base and give this team opportunities early on, and it's what you need in these types of games.
The count is 1-1 on Megan Brown with no one on and 2 gone. Ground ball deep to the second baseman, gloved and thrown to first in time. Nicely done.
Yeah, when you look at both of these pitchers starting in the circle tonight, both are relatively close in what they've done this year. I mean, just a couple of innings off. The ERA is .4 away. They've got just about the same experience this season, so a good matchup is expected.
The junior Sacco leads things off offensively for State in the lineup tonight. A Marrero, Louisiana native and a transfer from Louisiana Tech. A left-handed hitter. 1-1 the count. Sacco, Barbary, and Cook, 1, 2, 3 in the State order here in the bottom of the first as Sacco goes the opposite way and hits one right in between third and short and turns it into a 2-bagger as the ball was mishandled for just about a second by Bacon in left, and Sacco quickly is on at second base.
Yeah, just able to split the gap between third and short, and then you see fumbling around in left field. And when you talk about leadoff hitters, Sacco, one of the more impressive that we've seen coming up to that bat, a .500 on-base percentage, and it's just finds ways to get on base and get this team off to a good start.
has reached base safely now in over half of her official at-bats this season. Second base with no one out. Give Sacco credit for a single, and then she'll advance officially on an error charge to Bacon, the Warhawks left fielder. 0-1 the count now to Nadia Barbary, who hits one right at Lourdes Bacon. And Bacon this time makes the play, and that's a loud out for out number one here in the home half of the first.
Yeah, and a much-needed out, and Bacon able to make up for her mistake just a pitch later and gets the first out of this inning instead of letting Mississippi State off to a hot start at the plate.
One on in scoring position, one gone, home half of the first, as the veteran Paige Cook steps in for the first time tonight. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, strike one. Cook having herself a great start to the season, .377 the batting average. A senior and a right-handed hitter out of Georgia. Nice job there by Abrams to find the strike zone. This time the count is 0-2. Good job on the part of Abrams to get out in front of Cook, who's been a tough out this season. That time the breaking ball never broke, and good job by the catcher Blunt to keep it in front of her. Counts a ball and two strikes. Sacco on at second. Bulldogs trying to score first in the first and take the early lead. Change up that time, fouled off and out of play into the stands off to our right. So Cook spoils that one and will do it again. Count remains a ball and two strikes. Just a gorgeous Wednesday evening here in Starkville, Mississippi. Boy, that ball sailed over the head of the catcher, Blunt. Sacco will take third base. No throw attempted. A wild pitch. As Abrams, I think, Cody, just simply lost her grip on the softball.
Yeah, and it could be a costly mistake as well. You might have been able to limit Sacco on a single getting to third and not bringing it home, and now just about anything hit into play should bring her home. Now maybe it won't because you're sitting with two outs.
Huge strikeouts for Abrams. Cook, I think she heard you, Cody, and was thinking at least get a sac fly, put something into the outfield, but could not catch up to that one. Abrams, her first strikeout tonight. Nicely done, and Cook just a little bit over the top of it. So runner at third, but now two gone, and boy, Abrams is flirting with those rise balls that are sailing way out of the zone. Ball one. No strikes to the dangerous slugger, Madison Kennedy. A .419 hitter on the season. At the knees, count evens up. Kennedy having easily the best start to any of her seasons during her career here in Starkville. Trying to get a two-out base hit. Hits one up the middle, and that'll drive in a run. Madison Kennedy continues her hot 2024 campaign, and the Dogs are on the board first, 1-0 in the first.
Gives her her 23rd RBI of the season and just continues to stay hot at the plate. Didn't need to do anything special, just put it on the ground by second base into center field and brings in, yet again, another early run for the Bulldogs.
Sacco scores easily. 1-0 is our score. 21st ranked Mississippi State leading UL Monroe as the reigning SEC Freshman of the Week, who we highlighted in the opening, Salyn Hawkins, steps up for the first time this evening. Nice off-speed pitch in there for a strike. And the count to Hawkins quickly 0-2. Hawkins, Cody, actually led all SEC hitters over the weekend, which was the opening weekend of play in the Southeastern Conference. So not just the best freshman hitter, she was the leading hitter for average in the whole league. Goes the opposite way, bounces one out to second. That's where Edwards is able to strike Cody Blazak. I'm Anthony Craven. Nice crowd has gathered here during spring break week, not just for students at Mississippi State, but local elementary, middle, and high school students also on spring break. So a nice night for families to come out to the ballpark and enjoy some softball, take in some nice weather, and a large number of fans have done just that here tonight.
Still see some fans filling in the stadium as well.
We got 17 minutes after the hour here at the ballpark, so yes. The late arriving crowd just now getting their food, getting settled in. That first inning was a quick one. Leading things off, top of the second, is the Warhawks second baseman Andy Edwards, a right-handed hitter, to face Marin, who retired the ULM side in order in the first. The 2-0s found back, strike one. Edwards followed by Zinzin and Lippert. The middle of the order, Buck will step up for ULM if anyone reaches. Showing bunt, then bringing back the bat and taking that ball in the dirt is Edwards, and she has a hitter's count, 3-1. The Moss Bluff, Louisiana senior, batting .275 on the year. A solid middle of the order bat. In there more for her power, not so much for her average, although .275, nothing to sneeze at, but she has the capability of hitting that ball into the gaps at any point.
Has drove in 18 runs this season as well, so really one of those players in the middle of that lineup where if you can get the top of the lineup to get on base, pretty good chance that she is going to be able to bring them home.
Swing and a miss, and Marin fights back, was down in the count, 3-1, and gets the strikeout anyway of Edwards, and that'll be Marin's first strikeout of the ball game.
See the drop ball and just gets her chasing down low. Time and time again, we see it from Josie Marin, who has solid starts to games, especially when she's able to get batters to chase.
Bouncing grounder off the bat of Zinzin, and Edwards cannot glove it cleanly. And that will be an E6, the first error committed tonight by the Bulldogs. Now each team has committed an early error in the ball game, and the Warhawks have their first base runner of the ball game as Zinzin is standing at first base.
Yeah, and we've seen Edwards, one of the bright youngsters on this Mississippi State team, but from time to time makes errors in that shortstop position. Has to find a way to clean it up, but 9 times out of 10, we don't see it very often from her just because of how many times the ball is played to her.
We'll see if ULM can take advantage of it. 1 on, 1 gone. Lippert, a slapper, pops it out. Foul, actually 1 step foul, 1 step fair. Either way, Barbary makes the catch. Fair or foul, it's an out, and there are now 2 gone.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of work for Barbary. Just had to take a couple steps forward and had to wait for it to drop, and it dropped right into her glove.
She won't have many putouts that easy the rest of the season. Jacelyn Buck, the Warhawks third baseman, steps up now for the first time tonight. 7-hole hitter in tonight's lineup for head coach Molly Fichtner. Molly Fichtner in her 6th season in Monroe, Louisiana. The 0-2 to Buck. Down and in. Taken. Count is 1 and 2. That error that Edwards just committed, her team leading 8th error of the season. That's been the only negative you can say about the freshman Edwards, is that at times this season she's tried to move just a little too fast, maybe, and has not cleanly filtered her position.
Yeah, she's definitely shown signs of her youth at times. She's almost like one of those players where she's either making a top 10 play or it's an error. It's one or the other. There isn't a whole lot of in between, because a lot of plays that she does make at shortstop have been very impressive and get you on your feet.
And listen, no one likes to see an error, but as a coach, you can live with that if Edwards is going to hit 300 on the season. Because like you said, she'll come back, the next ball hit her way, she'll turn a double play.
Yeah, she'll either turn a double play or it'll be a dribbler to her that doesn't look like she'll have enough time to make it to first, and then is able to throw it to first in time.
Long at bat right here. A 2-2 count to Buck with Zinzin at first base. 2 gone. That ball's downstairs, and Marin having a hard time getting out of the inning. So far, no damage done, but a much longer outing in the top of the second than we saw from Marin in the top of the first. The payoff pitch, spoiled again. Good job to fight that one off by Buck. A .312 hitter, so a really good hitter for a bottom third of the order bat. A junior right-hander, Jacelyn Buck.
A solid on-base percentage as well. She's got 12 walks this season. Gets on base.
There you go. Case in point.
Quite often.
Yep, 13 walks now drawn this year by Buck. The 2-out walk is earned. And the Warhawks have a scoring chance right here. 2 on base, first and second, 2 gone. And the catcher, Madison Blunt, will step up for the first time this evening.
And that's a tough at-bat for Marin, too. Went up early, 0-2, threw a couple of balls, and then fouled off a couple of balls as well, and ends up walking her. Definitely not the result you're looking for when you're able to go up in the count early.
But Marin, I'm not saying this was her thought process, but you can afford to be a little careful with Buck when you have a 107 hitter in the catcher Blunt coming up behind her. Snap throw to second, and State's going to catch Zinzin off the bag. Oh my goodness, what a throw from the catcher Wesolowski. And the inning is over.
Take a look at it here. A swing and just a huge leadoff, and the Bulldogs up 1-0 at the end of the top of the second.
Blaine Edwards and Wesolowski, 6 through 8 to the plate to face Victoria Abrams, who's back in the circle for her second inning of work. Starting pitcher for ULM. There you see Jesse Blaine, the junior transfer, who has been a wonderful offensive addition to this ball club in the offseason.
Yeah, solid batting average for Blaine at .362, but can also just send one a mile out of the park. When she hits them out, they're gone, and they are quite a distance away.
Has done a great job hitting for average and power, and there she does it again. Just simply drops one into right field. That ball was drifting to the outside of the plate, and the right-hander simply went with it, went the opposite way, gets a base single or a base knock for a single, and she'll run at first base for the freshman shortstop, Edwards. Edwards hitting just a hair under 300 at the moment, 298. 17 hits in 57 at-bats. Right-handed hitting freshman out of Indiana. So you've got in the lineup tonight for the Bulldogs, Edwards, Wesolowski, Blaine, Hawkins, Sacco. 5 newcomers to the program. 3 freshmen, 2 transfers. Foul tipped that one. 1-2 goes the count.
Yeah, and sometimes you see teams struggle when they have that many newcomers, especially who start, and really haven't. I feel like we've seen the opposite. They've just played and meshed really well together through 20-something odd games this season.
And did not cool off at all on the opening weekend of SEC play. Double play, not quite. Edwards is able to beat the relay at first, but the lead runner, Blaine, is erased from the base paths. Good job defensively by the Warhawks shortstop, Broddick.
Yeah, quick play to second, and then Edwards at second kind of had to hesitate with Blaine coming in. Couple of seconds, maybe a second or two earlier, and would have been able to turn the double play.
The Bulldog catcher, Ella Wesolowski, steps up to the plate. Her first AB tonight. Wesolowski, as a freshman, hitting .372 on the season. As she makes her 18th start of the year tonight. That ball is headed back up the middle for a base hit. Stopping at second is Edwards. And the freshman, Wesolowski, just collected hit number 17 on the year for her.
Yeah, and just right over the head of Abrams, it looked like it might have almost hit the glove of Abrams, and able to keep the inning alive with only 1 out, that is, and now you have a runner in scoring position, opportunity to drive another run or 2 in.
The slapper, number 9 hitter in the order, the senior St. Clair, steps in and takes strike 1. St. Clair out of Sand Rock, Alabama, hitting right at 300 on the year. Shows bunt and takes it on the outside corner again. So back-to-back strikes thrown by Abrams. And she is quickly out in front of St. Clair, 0-2. Edwards at second, Wesolowski at first. St. Clair hits one to the third baseman. They're going through to third, and sliding in hard, aggressively, and safely is Kylie Edwards, and the Bulldogs will have the bases loaded with just 1 out.
When we take a look at it, trying to make the play at third, and yeah, it looks like Edwards just was able to get there, and I'm not sure that Buck even touched the plate at all. And now you have bases loaded for the Bulldogs. Dangerous play at third, but Edwards had to do what she had to do to get there. And it also looked like Buck might have been blocking the base path.
And it actually was the shortstop, Broddick, that was covering the bag, because Buck had to go up the line to field it. Either way, you're right, Cody. The defender never actually touched the bag at third. Got her foot in front of the bag, but never on the bag. Good call at third base by Laura King, and a good job by St. Clair, the hitter, with 2 strikes to slap that thing high off the dirt and force the bang-bang play.
Yeah, and in real time, I thought she might have gotten her foot on the bag, but a great view from our camera crew to get that shot, and clearly didn't get her foot on the third base bag.
And it brings up now the very dangerous top of the order for Mississippi State. Chance here to tack on some extra runs. They lead by one early on. Home half of the second. One out, bases loaded as Sacco goes the opposite way, but foul. And the count's a ball and 2 strikes on Sierra Sacco, who singled and scored State's first run of the game in the Bulldogs' first at-bat. Not a bad idea there by Abrams. She changed speeds and once again tried to paint the outside corner against the lefty Sacco, but she missed, and now the count's even 2-2. Big moment here in the early going. Sacco fights that one off. Will do it again. Count remains 2-2.
Yeah, Sierra Sacco in a position, I should say, that she doesn't find herself often, with an opportunity to bring runs in. Only 4 RBIs on the season, but has scored herself 24. Just kind of what you see from your leadoff hitter.
Breaking ball was going to drop in there for a strike, so Sacco swings late and fights it off to stay alive. Yeah, she has 20 hits. And like you said, she has scored 24 times. But a rare RBI chance right here for State's leadoff batter in the order. That ball in the dirt, blocked up well by Blunt. But now the count's full, and there is nowhere for Abrams to put Sacco. Sacco has already drawn 21 walks on the season, averaging almost a walk per game. And it's high, and that'll walk in a run. And the Dogs have doubled up their lead. They now are on top 2-0 as Edwards will touch home plate, and that will give Sacco her 5th RBI of the season. A little bit unconventional, but she'll take it.
And that was a good battle at the plate as well, especially for Sacco. Found herself in a hole, had to fight a couple of pitches off, was able to foul them off, kept herself at the plate, and eventually had a good enough eye to get a walk and scores a run off of it.
Breaking ball in there from Abrams to start off Nadia Barbary, strike one. Barbary 0 for 1 tonight, flew out to left on, I believe, the very first pitch of the at-bat, her first time up. That one misses outside. A high velocity pitch that time from Abrams, evens the count 1-1. Barbary hitting .338 now on the season. 23 hits, really good start to the season for the sophomore Barbary, who also has played a very strong third base this year for the Bulldogs. 2 balls and a strike is the count. Wesolowski at third, St. Clair at second, Sacco at first. Bases still loaded, less than 2 outs. Fighting off that ball is Barbary, and the count evens up 2-2. Well, Abrams needs a strikeout here or an infield pop-out badly.
I think dream scenario would be something to second and try and make the double play. You have a force out anywhere you want to go, so something in the infield would be nice, but I think something specifically in the direction of second would be a dream scenario for Abrams.
Even though there are less than 2 outs, you got to think Wesolowski, who's a good runner, is going to take off on a ground ball hit anywhere from third base. So there also is the chance for a play at the plate. If you're the Warhawks, it's not going to happen, though. That'll be an RBI single for Barbary. Scoring is Wesolowski. St. Clair heads to third. It's an easy commute from high school to college. They see her numbers on the year, and she has been used in terms of innings pitched even more so than the starter Abrams.
Yeah, having a 131 ERA and a 6-4 record is insane. It's amazing that she has that low of an ERA and has lost 4 games, but otherwise, I mean, has 68 Ks on the season, has about a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, has really put in solid work this season.
And right here, she's being asked by her coaches to limit the damage, get us out of the inning, is the goal right now for ULM. 3-0. Bulldogs have the bases loaded and a really good veteran hitter in Cook at the plate. That ball is going to be high, and the count is going to move to 2 balls and a strike. Cook struck out her first time up. That was against Abrams. Now she's facing Nichols for the first time. State has scored 2 runs on 3 hits. Here in the bottom of the second to go on top by 3. Time called as, actually they're going to say that Nichols took too much time. They're going to say that Nichols did not get the pitch off in time, and that'll be ball 3. 3-1 the count, and timeout is now called by ULM. Well, big difference in this situation from a 2-1 count to a 3-1 count.
Yeah, you already had a situation where you threw a walk and it essentially brought in a run for free, and you want to try and limit that here, especially bringing a new pitcher out into the circle.
ULM's head coach is Molly Fickner, the former Alabama star. The associate head coach is Leah Wodak. She's in her 5th season. An Oklahoma alum. So the coaching staff, at least the head coach and the associate head coach, came from championship caliber programs. Fickner from Alabama, Wodak from Oklahoma, just like MSU head coach Samantha Ricketts. Swing and a miss. What a great rise ball from Nichols. Now the count's full. So 2 coaching staffs led by people that are accustomed to winning. The payoff pitch. Cook pops it up. Playable. In fact, infield fly rule was in play there. Catch is made regardless at second base by Edwards. And that's a huge out to record for Nichols and the Warhawks.
Yeah, it gets you the second out of the bottom of the second, and you're an out away from getting out of this inning now. Would have liked to limit the damage to that 1 run, if not none, but still can get out of this inning without a lot worse of a score, especially considering bases are still loaded.
And if they are able to get out of this inning, they're going to have to retire State's best hitter for average and best power hitter in Madison Kennedy, who's already 1 for 1 tonight with a run driven in.
Yeah, I think they were going to try and get out of this and try not to have to face her with the bases loaded. But
ideally,
yeah, that would have been a dream scenario. We'll see if they can limit what she does.
Kennedy's batting average now a team best .432, 500 on base percentage, and is slugging over 1,000. Whoa, nice breaking ball. Drops in there. And the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, and if you're Nichols, this is a count that you take any day of the week, and you have the opportunity to waste a couple of pitches and see if Kennedy will bite. But this is a scenario you like to be in.
Kennedy just got enough of that one to stay alive and fouled it straight back off the screen. Count remains 1-2. Kennedy has driven in 23 runs on the season. She's got to protect the plate right here, though, with 2 strikes and 2 outs. That misses. Good take by Kennedy. Didn't miss by much, but clearly missed low and away, and the count is now even at 2-2.
Yeah, one of those pitches that you can waste. You see Kennedy kind of leaning into it. Looks like she was thinking about it. And if you're Nichols, it's what you need to be doing. You have a couple of pitches you can waste. See if you can get her to bite on something out of the zone.
Turning on that one and hitting it foul is Kennedy. I'll tell you what, Kennedy, for somebody who's tall with long arms, has good bat speed. Gets those hands turned around quickly for somebody with as long of a swing as she has. The 2-2. High ball 3. And here we are again. Nowhere for Nichols to put the batter. She's got to throw her something around the plate. St. Clair's at third, Sacco at second, Barbary at first. Bases loaded. Already 2 runs have scored. Here comes the payoff pitch. Kennedy pops it up. Shallow in center, calling for it is Platt. And Nichols got a chance to call her only start so far this season. And she threw a complete game as the Bulldogs won.
Yeah, solid start, solid first start of her career. Seen her pitch 9 2/3 innings, so has seen somewhat of a sample size from her, but is averaging about a strikeout an inning, so definitely have seen some solid outing from her.
This will be Everett's 6th appearance of the year. She faces Kelsey Giddens, a junior right-hander, leading things off as a pinch hitter for ULM here in the top of the 3rd. Swing and a miss. Everett, good velocity.
And it's a pitch you needed if you're Everett. Had already found yourself down 2-0, didn't want to get to 3-0, and is able to slip that in for a strike.
Swing and a miss again. Now the count's even up at 2-2.
Yeah, now gets her to swing at 2 in a row and evens the count up, so puts herself a little bit in an advantage point with an opportunity to get a quick first out in the top of this 3rd.
The 2-2 to Giddens. Fouled back, stay alive. Giddens pinch hitting for Blunt. Blunt was at the plate in the top of the 2nd when ULM was thrown out at second base to end the inning. So with Blunt set to lead things off, the catcher, Coach Fickner, decides to instead go with the pinch hitter Giddens, who, by my records, has not had an official at-bat this year. Well, the scoreboard says she has some, but our stats in front of us beg to differ. Let me go to the actual stat sheet provided to us by UL Monroe. Scoreboard is correct. Okay, so hitting a .43 on the season is Giddens. Lines one hard, but foul to the corner of left field.
And that is a solid hit ball from Giddens. If she can put that fair, it's not out of here, but it's at least a base hit at the bare minimum.
Kelsey Giddens has played now in 15 games this year, has made 13 starts. So she has essentially started every other game this season for the Warhawks, splitting time at catcher with Blunt. Pops this one out to Cook, who drops it in right field. And hustling around and ending up at second base is Giddens. The leadoff batter, a pinch hitter, ends up at second base. Look at this again. What a rare mistake from Cook.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if she misjudged it or just hit off of her glove and she wasn't able to close it in time. But yeah, something we don't see often from the veteran in right field. And just like that, a 3-0 ball game. The tying run is on deck.
An error on Cook. The Bulldogs have committed 2 errors in the first 3 innings. UL Monroe, though, has yet to take advantage of it. They're trying to change that right now with a shortstop Broddick stepping up for the first time tonight. The 9-hole hitter with a 143 average, trying to bunt her way on or at least get the runner at second, Giddens, over to third with less than 2 outs. Either way, has not been able to make contact. And she is now in the hole, 0-2. Bounces one, going to be a hard play. No throw attempted. A high chopper, really short. The only person who could get to it was the pitcher. And good hustle up the line by Broddick. And the Warhawks have runners at the corners.
Yeah, and a tough ball to field for Everett. Just hit it in the dirt and had that high bounce, didn't go anywhere. And runners on the corners with no outs puts Mississippi State in a dangerous position.
And the top of the order is up. Great opportunity here for ULM to score their first runs of the night. They just got their first hit of the night on an infield single back to the pitcher. Broddick at first, Giddens at third, Bacon, a .405 hitter on the year at the plate. Shows bunt and bunts it foul. And that right there was, I don't think the squeeze was on. I think she was trying to bunt her way on and get Broddick over to second. I never saw Giddens take off from third on that ball bunted foul. 0-2 the count on Bacon. That ball hit the other way, foul, so we'll do it again. The ball actually ends up in the Bulldog dugout, third base side. And again, Bacon just simply fights it off. A slap hitter with quick hands, good bat speed. It's going to be hard to get her out despite being up in the count 0-2 if you're Delaney Everett.
And has been able to keep this at-bat alive, still no outs, and the bottom of this lineup was able to get on base, and now you get to the top of this lineup where you've got some higher averages and then some power hitting coming into play. It's a good spot for the Warhawks.
That ball just missed the zone. The count's now 1-2 on Bacon, who is 0-for-1 tonight. Grounded out to second her first time up. Hits that one foul, will do it again. And already Everett's thrown 17 pitches in the top of the third and has yet to record an out. An error and an infield single. And the Warhawks have the tying run at the plate. That ball comes inside and the count evens up. Now, the crowd didn't like it, but clearly off the inside corner. So the count 2-2 on Bacon with the very dangerous Platt in the on-deck circle. Lights are on now here at News Park. Slap to third, dropped, and everyone's going to be safe. Bacon hit it right at Barbary, and Barbary dropped the ball, I think, on the transfer. And everyone's going to be safe. Bases are loaded for UL Monroe. And that will be ruled an error. The third error already tonight, Cody, from Mississippi State.
Yeah, 2 of them coming in this inning. Couple of pitchers warming up in the bullpen, but I mean, you're sitting with 2 outs if we haven't seen these 2 errors in this third inning. I'm not sure going to the bullpen is the best idea, but just a couple of plays that Mississippi State needs to clean up, and you've already got 2 outs.
Well, and this has not been the fault of your reliever, Everett, in the circle. Her defense has not backed her up so far here in this top of the third and put her in a very difficult position. So after the timeout's called, we're ready now to resume play. Platt at the plate, Bacon at first, Broderick at second, Giddens at third. No one is out. In a 3-0 ball game at the moment. Swing and a miss from the slap hitter, Karis Platt, leading hitter for average right now in the Sun Belt Conference. 0 for 1, though, tonight.
Yeah, and the good thing if you're Delaney Everett is you had an error in the infield and then an error in the outfield, both plays that should have been outs. So it's not like they've been, per se, really hitting against you. So a real opportunity to still get these 3 outs.
She's out in front of Platt, 0-2. A strikeout here would be huge. That ball is spoiled and fouled out to the Bulldog dugout. Nice one-handed snag down there. Count remains 0-2 on Platt, who grounded out to the Bulldogs shortstop Barbary, or Edwards rather, her first time up in the first. Foul ball again, and once again fouled off the opposite way as Platt has spoiled back-to-back pitches from Everett. Easily our biggest moment of the ball game so far, right here. And again, Platt just simply gets the bat around the last half second and fouls it off to stay alive.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of at-bats like this for Delaney Everett, where it's just a battle between her and the batter, a bunch of pitches per at-bat this inning.
Yeah, already 25 pitches thrown this inning by the freshman Everett. No outs recorded, but also no runs allowed yet from the freshman reliever. We had a dropped fly ball in right field, a single on the infield, and then an error, and there's a big strikeout. A swing and a miss of the toughest bat in the Warhawks lineup, and Platt goes down swinging.
Yeah, you take a look at it, a rise ball gets her swinging for out number 1, and a big out number 1 for Everett with bases loaded. Have to keep the momentum going and try and get out of this inning unscathed.
Everett not out of the weeds yet. A very good hitter in Megan Brown, the ULM right fielder, stamps up. .359 hitter this season. 0 for 1, though, tonight. The 1-0. High and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Got to be careful right here. Nowhere, obviously, for Brown to go with the bases still loaded. The good news is for State, you're up by 3 runs, so you'll exchange a run for an out in this situation, I would imagine.
Yeah, I imagine you would too, but I'm not sure you want to if you don't have to.
I mean, if you don't have to, sure. But you would take that exchange. My point is, you can throw strikes right now if you're Everett. Swing and a miss. But that rise ball has been very effective here in the 3rd inning for Delaney Everett. Count now 2-2 on Megan Brown.
And if she could record a second strikeout here, gets you one step closer, or something in the infield, you have a force out at every base. Just, you really don't want anything to the outfield.
How about that? Back-to-back strikeouts of Platt and Brown. And Delaney Everett, the freshman, is 1 out away from getting out of the jam. No damage done.
Yeah, and we see her strike another batter out with a rise ball. Both batters that she struck out this inning have come from that same pitch, and has really been able to get whoever's been at the plate to bite at that rise ball.
Strike 1 to Andy Edwards. No sacrifice opportunity now for Edwards, who is 0 for 1 tonight. Her team needs her to come through with a big 2-out quality at bat. That ball is low and outside, and the count evens up 1-1. Edwards struck out her first time up tonight. That was last inning. Facing Everett, though, for the first time. Bases are loaded, so the tying runs are on base right now for ULM. They had the bases loaded with no one out. And then back-to-back strikeouts for the freshman reliever Delaney Everett has State an out away from getting out of the jam. Edwards, a .269 hitter on the season. Swing and a miss. Count evens up 2-2. Everett now a strike away from somehow escaping.
And this is a huge accomplishment for Delaney Everett if she can get her team out of this bind in this inning, especially as a freshman.
That ball headed towards second.
A couple of days ago, it was a little cool here, and it has definitely warmed up the past 2 days.
But not springtime yet.
No.
Check out the forecast for the weekend if you haven't already. Just do it. In your free time, just check it out. I'll get your thoughts in a few minutes. 1-0, the count on Salyn Hawkins. She's facing Maddie Nichols, who came on in relief last inning for the Warhawks. You've got Giddens now, your brand new catcher for UL Monroe, as expected, replacing Blunt. That ball misses off the inside corner. So quickly, 3-0 the count on Hawkins, the reigning SEC Freshman of the Week. Hit over 600 in her first ever SEC series on the road against her team's arch rival.
That's what you call a weekend to remember.
Right?
I mean,
core memory locked for Hawkins. A case could be made that she wasn't just the best freshman in the SEC opening weekend. She might have been the best player overall opening weekend. Pop up off to the right side, grabbed by the first baseman Zinzin, and Hawkins is retired. 0 for 2 tonight, though, is the freshman Hawkins. 1 gone, no one on for number 22, Jessie Blaine. who ripped a single to right her first time up tonight. So she's 1 for 1. Off the inside corner, ball 1. That single in the second ups her average now to 373. The on-base percentage at 500. So State now has 2 players in the everyday lineup who are getting on base literally every other at-bat on average. Not too shabby. Right down the middle. A ball on a strike, a ball on 2 strikes rather, goes the count on Blaine. Check the forecast.
It's very nice during the day, and it is really chilly come the nighttime.
Get ready. We are still very much in fake spring here in the Southeast. Everyone's like, oh, it's springtime. All right, gonna put my shorts on, do some gardening, and then boom, 31 degrees over the weekend. Still gotta have the blanket though if you're out tonight. Once that sun went behind the clouds, you knew the temperature would drop quickly, and it has.
And luckily, we had a little more sunlight, though, the time changing this past week. So a week ago, it probably would have been dark by the time this game got started, but we've had some sunlight, and we have the lights now, but still a little bit of natural light.
Yeah, the sun is finally set just off to our left. So it is officially nighttime, but you're right, first home game post daylight savings. So sunset around 7 o'clock tonight here in the Central Time Zone. How about that at-bat from Blaine? Fell behind a really good pitcher in Nichols, and then was able to work the count back to her favor, a full count, and then draws the base on balls.
And so that on-base percentage now above 500. Was it 500, now above?
She and Sacco both.
And don't quote me on this, but I believe Madison Kennedy's,
I think you're right,
after her previous at-bat, is over 500 as well.
Edwards hits one, little flare out to shallow right. Good job by the first baseman, Zinzin, making that grab over the shoulder. Called off Brown and Edwards, and quickly MSU's Kylie Edwards is retired, and there are 2 gone.
And what an awkward catch at the very end, the netting of that glove, just barely able to grab onto it, but it's a big second out.
Wesolowski hits one high in the air, deep, but it should be caught, and it is right in front of the track by Bacon. So Nichols gives
a start for the Bulldogs, and Delaney Everett came in last inning in relief and really found herself in a tough position, had bases loaded, and then proceeds to get 3 outs in a row, 2 by strikeout, and then a pop-up. Just a really solid effort from her to get herself and her team out of a pretty tough situation after a couple of errors were committed.
And that's got to give the freshman right-hander some confidence going forward. She faces Zinzin, the Warhawks' first baseman, to begin the 4th inning. Zinzin goes the opposite way and fouls that one off to the right. Zinzin reached on an error her first time up. An error charged to Edwards. The Bulldogs have committed 3 errors in the ballgame. Edwards, Barbary, and Cook have all been charged with miscues. Swing and a miss. Boy, Everett has really, I think, kept the Warhawks guessing with just how quickly that rise ball comes in at you.
Yeah, she's had some lengthy at-bats, but she's able to get a rise ball in there every once in a while that either just freezes the batter and has them chasing really hard.
That time, Zinzin almost caught up to it.
That's the thing, though, too, is when the batters are able to read that rise ball, they haven't been able to hit it. They've been fouling it off.
The numbers on Everett so far through an inning plus, just 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Checking a swing and taking the pitch off the outside corner is Zinzin. And the count evens up 2-2. The 5 through 7 hitters in the ULM order, Zinzin, Lippert, and Buck are due up. And then we'll see Giddens if anyone reaches. That ball is fouled back and out of play to the right side. Zinzin will stay alive and will do it again. Count remains even at 2-2. Zinzin on the year, 9 hits in 32 at-bats. That's good for a .281 average. So a solid at-bat, or a solid batter in the lineup. Only a freshman, too. You've got back-to-back freshmen here in the middle of the order, Zinzin and Lippert for the Warhawks. Payoff pitch. Look at that at-bat. For the second consecutive inning, ULM gets the leadoff batter on base.
That's been a pitch that Everett has been able to get them to chase, but this time Zinzin able to hold off and be disciplined enough to not chase and is able to get herself on base. Another good start to an inning for the Warhawks.
And it brings up a good hitter in the ULM DP, Brooklyn Lippert. As I mentioned, a freshman, but a left-handed hitter. A .356 average on the season. Known primarily as a slapper. So State brings the infield in at the corners, and then Lippert hits one, a dart, straight into that Bulldog dugout. The Bulldogs 5 hits tonight. The Warhawks only 1 hit. State scored a run in the first, tacked on 2 more in the second. No scoring since then. I tell you what, ULM, they've been able to get on base. Walks, errors, just have not been able to get that extra base hit and have not been able to get that key 2-out base hit so far tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing. They've left 4 on base and have a single hit this ball game, but a lot of it because of walks and because of errors.
How about that defensive play? Good job by Edwards. Got to the ball in time, knew that she had not a great runner in Zinzin, and threw to second base there to get the force out of the Warhawks' lead runner. Good job by the freshman shortstop. Out number 1 as Lippert will reach on a fielder's choice, and it brings up Buck.
Yep.
Swing and a miss, strike 1.
And kind of an awkward play from Kylie Edwards as well. It's not like that was an easy play. You had to track forward and then essentially do a 180-degree spin to toss it to second. And this is the things we talk about with Edwards is she made a mistake earlier on, and then she comes up with a play like that.
And even though it was a difficult play, a non-routine play, I think part of that may have been the scouting report, because you know Lippert is lightning quick from plate to first. And so Edwards, as smart as she is, might have thought, it's a bit of a gamble, but it's the better play to make, or the higher percentage play to make, to go to second. Meanwhile, check out that pitch.
That's what she's done all night, it feels like.
Frozen.
I mean,
Buck.
third strikeout of her appearance tonight, has really come into this game and not a whole lot of nerves and just has been able to settle in really well and perform.
2 gone, 1 on for Kelsey Giddens. Did not start the game, but is now the catcher for the Warhawks and makes her second plate appearance tonight. Pops it up, foul territory. There won't be a play, though. That ball will land just beyond the dugout on the concourse area, third base side. So we'll do it again, and the count is now 0-2 on Giddens, who reached on the dropped fly ball by Paige Cook in right her last time up. That was in the third. That's when the Warhawks had the bases loaded, no one out, and could not score a run. The 0-2. Grounder through for a base hit. Stopping at second is Lippert. St. Clair gets it back in quickly, but a nice 2-out at bat by Giddens, the catcher. And the Warhawks will once again have the tying run at the plate as Broddick steps up. So a nice 2-strike approach from Giddens keeps the inning alive for UL Monroe. The number 9 hitter, Broddick, who's 1 for 1 tonight, steps in. Strike 1. Broddick had a single on the infield her first time up. So that ups her average to 200 on the season. Only has 15 at-bats on the year. So she has not been the everyday starter at shortstop this season for the Warhawks, but got the start tonight. 0-2 the count, though, so once again, Everett and the Bulldogs a strike away from getting out of the inning.
Yeah, and this is something you kind of want to see improvement throughout the season from Everett. Is you're sitting on an inning and 2/3 of work at the moment, but have 55, and what a catch.
That will end the inning. Barbary in foul territory. Mississippi State, 21st ranked team in the nation, leads UL Monroe. Bottom of the fourth as St. Clair, Sacco, and Barbary are due up for state. Maddie Nichols is back in the circle. The Bulldogs, Cody, haven't scored since Nichols came into the ball game a couple of innings ago.
Yeah, was able to come in and kind of take control. Has been smart with her pitch selection. Hasn't allowed a whole lot of hits or walks. I mean, has a single walk and has allowed no hits since she's been into this one. So it's really taken control defensively for the Warhawks.
No strikeouts either. So a lot of contact, a lot of balls put into play, but some routine grounders, lazy pop-ups, that kind of stuff. St. Clair sends one towards second. No throw is going to get St. Clair out. Attempting it was Edwards, but she had no chance as St. Clair just simply slaps it right over the head of Nichols for a base hit.
Yeah, and a wild throw from Edwards as well. Made the play fielding, and I'm not sure even if it was an accurate throw, if it would have made it in time just because of the speed from St. Clair.
So St. Clair gets on base for the second time tonight. First hit for the veteran outfielder from Alabama. And it brings up now the top of the order, Sacco, who has been on base twice tonight. A single, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored.
Yeah, it's a nice little plus for Mississippi State when they start an inning at the 9 spot in the batting lineup, because it's essentially like 2 leadoff hitters back to back, and then you get in to some power hitters. It's just they have it set up in a really cool fashion of you can get a couple of runners on early and then try and blast them home.
It's a very balanced offensive lineup that State has this season. Swing and a miss. The bottom fell out of that one, and Sacco over the top. Falls behind in the count 1-2. The Bulldogs coming into the ball game tonight as a team, hitting .350. Pop up, foul, left side, out of play. We'll do it again. Count remains 1-2. $15 different players on State's roster hitting .300 or better on the year. Change up, State upstairs. Count evens up 2-2. Sacco has upped the average to .328. And the on-base percentage, .512. Up and in, ball 3. She just does not chase very many pitches.
Yeah, really, really smart with her at-bats. You see 15 strikeouts on the season, but I'm not really sure it matters when you have 21 walks and 20 hits.
Yeah. Three and two, the count remains. St. Clair, a good runner, is on at first base. Sacco, the batter, also has speed. Downstairs, the walk is earned, and the Bulldogs have 2 on, no one out. And a chance right now to take control, perhaps, in the 4th inning with the heart of the lineup, Barbary, Cook, and Kennedy set to come up.
When you start in that 9 spot for the Bulldogs, top of an inning, it really feels like 2 leadoff hitters, and just like that, no outs, runners on first and second.
Barbary hits the first pitch right back off the netting. It comes back and lands in the mitt of the catcher, Giddens, strike 1.
That was an impressive catch from Giddens. That ball came back pretty quick.
Barbary tonight 1 for 2, a single and an RBI. That RBI single came back in the second when State scored 2 runs, but they have not scored since. And they know against this ULM team, which already has 17 wins on the year, you would love to get a 4 or 5 run cushion heading into the last 3 innings. That ball gets away from Giddens. Both runners will advance. No throw attempted. State now with 2 on in scoring position and no one out.
Yeah, and feels kind of uncharacteristic from Nichols. Coming into this game, had exactly a 2-to-1 strikeout ratio, and in her work in this game tonight, we've seen 2 walks and no strikeouts, so just not the typical performance. Has done really good about limiting damage and not allowing runners, or allowing runs to score, but now in a position you have 2 on base in scoring position, a 3-1 count, and no outs.
First base is open, but you've got Cook and Kennedy in the on-deck circle as Nichols finds the outside corner on that offering, and the count is now full, 3-2 on Barbary. Barbary hitting .348, has driven in 19 runs on the year. The payoff pitch is fouled. We'll do it again. Barbary got way out in front of that changeup, but still made contact, so she'll stay alive to see at least 1 more pitch. 12 walks, 8 strikeouts at the plate for Barbary this season, so a positive walk to strikeout ratio. Downstairs, And the bases are loaded. The Bulldogs had the bases juiced in the second inning and scored a couple of runs. And now they got the bases loaded again with one of their better hitters in the lineup stepping up in the form of Paige Cook.
Has not had the best day at the plate, but obviously a pretty big opportunity here to change that with either a sacrifice fly or something into the outfield, could score a couple of runs.
Time will be called by the Warhawks. There you see the number. You've at least got Briston Bordeaux down there, the freshman right-hander. I couldn't tell who the other reliever was warming up for ULM. That ball's high. They count 2-0. Nichols has to throw strikes. Cook knows she has to throw strikes. 20 hits on the year for Cook, including 8 doubles and 1 home run. That's high, 3-0. ULM's already walked in 1 run tonight, back in the second. And Nichols is dangerously close to walking in another. The 3-0. And that is ball 4. And right now Nichols having a hard time finding the strike zone as St. Clair will touch home, and the Dogs are on top by 4.
And I'm sure Paige Cook in a difficult position for only 2 2/3 inning of work this season. You've got bases loaded, no outs. It's kind of like you come into a brand new inning, but there's a big chance a run might be scored.
Clearly trying to give the Bulldog hitters a different look as Kennedy steps up and fouls back the very first pitch. But Kennedy not wasting any time. Took a hack at the very first offering from Hewlett. Kennedy tonight, state's leading hitter, is 1 for 2, a single and an RBI. That came back in the first to get the Dogs on the board in their first at bat. Kennedy hits one high into the air, deep, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a grand slam for the Bulldogs' leading home run hitter. And just like that, the Bulldogs have not only grabbed control of the game, they have doubled up their lead with one swing. It is now 8-0 Mississippi State.
Holy mackerel, just
at that
look
swing.
at her get under it and send it straight over the fence. No shot it was going anywhere but over the fence. And Madison Kennedy does it once again.
A grand slam from Madison Kennedy.
Is that number 2 on the year for her?
Her second grand slam, I believe, yes. And for Kennedy, that'll be homer number 8, right? Yes. Her 8th homer of the season. Continues to lead the team in that category. Wow. Well, this ball game changed on one swing, didn't it? 8-0. Now the score.
That was a shot. I mean, that was impressive.
Got underneath it, and what a follow-through. Hawkins hits a slow roller over to third base, picked up by Buck and thrown to first in time for out number 1. So
I can't get over how well that was hit. I mean, she just crushed it.
A rude greeting of Hewlett. By the way, you got to charge 3 of those 4 runs to Nichols. So Nichols only gives up 4 runs. But I'm pretty sure 4 runs on just 2 base hits.
A couple of walks thrown in there, and altogether as a team, the Warhawks haven't played bad. It's just been a couple of mistakes in innings that have hurt them.
How about that catch? Platt in left center field robs Blaine of an extra base hit. And that'll be out number 2. Heck of a job by Platt, the really good center fielder for ULM.
Yeah, it looked like she might have overrun it for a second, but is able to put on the brakes, throw her glove up in the air, and is able to catch it to get the second out. And obviously, if you could go back and erase that grand slam, you would, but just like that, you got 2 quick outs.
So Hewlett has seemingly calmed down after the home run, the grand slam home run given up to Kennedy. And the Bulldogs will now use a pinch hitter. The veteran Aquana Brownlee steps up for the first time tonight with no one on and 2 gone. Takes that ball at the knees for a strike from Hewlett. Houston, Mississippi product. The senior Brownlee hitting .371 on the season. Not a bad tool to have in your toolbox there in the dugout to pull out to be a pinch hitter. Just the second appearance of the season in the circle for Hewlett. And she was put in a tight spot. Brownlee hits one, and it's going to be off the glove. The second baseman, Edwards, had to go range out there into right field and just could not get the feet set. And the ball goes in and out of the glove, and Brownlee ends up safe at first base.
Yeah, it just didn't look like she timed it correctly, wasn't able to get her glove, and it looks like it hits off the left outside of her glove and allows Brownlee to get on base.
So Aquana Brownlee, let's see how they're going to score that. And that's got to be an error. It's got to be a dropped fly ball by the second baseman, Edwards. And speaking of Edwards, the Bulldogs will reinsert Kylie Edwards to run at first base for Brownlee. Sorry about that, Cody.
For both teams tonight, too, we've seen some errors on routine plays, like really routine plays, like those fly balls and stuff. So just, we've really seen some odd things from both of these teams here on a Wednesday night.
Wesolowski goes the opposite way and hits one into right field. Sliding in safely at third is Edwards. And the Dogs aren't done yet here in the 4th. They've got runners at the corners now for Bradley St. Clair. Wesolowski, that's her second hit of the ball game.
And she is creeping her way to that 400 average mark.
Yes, she is.
We saw early on in some non-conference play struggled to get above that 300 mark. And in a blink of an eye, she's batting .391.
St. Clair hits one on the ground right in front of home plate. And that is a beautiful bunt. Nothing Hewlett could do. Nothing the catcher Giddens could do. Buck had to hold the runner on at third. Great job there by St. Clair, who has now reached base twice in this inning.
Yeah, we talked about how this lineup is built, and if you start with St. Clair in the top of the inning, you kind of get 2 leadoff hitters, and now you're already back to where you started, and once again, the bases are loaded.
11th batter of the inning for the Bulldogs, who have scored 5 runs on 4 hits, aided by 1 error that has kept the inning alive. 0-1 the count to Sacco. Sacco fouls that one back, strike 2. So she's in the hole, 0-2. And the Bulldogs have had, by my count, 4 different bases loaded situations in this ball game. Twice in the second, and now twice in the fourth.
Wasn't able to capitalize in that second inning, but has taken full advantage in this inning.
Up the middle, could be a play at first, throw not quite in time. That ball hit the glove of Hewlett, the pitcher, and slowed it down just long enough, Cody, I think, that Broddick could not get a throw to first in time, and the run will score.
You take a look at it, they are clearly safe at first base, but to your point, yeah, I think it hitting the glove slowed things down, and possibly the out could have been made, but just messes that whole sequence up.
Edwards scores, and she reached. Actually, it was Brownlee. She was running for Brownlee, who reached on the error. So an unearned run scores on that play as Edwards will cross home. Wesolowski goes to third. St. Clair to second. Sacco is safe on an infield single. And the Dogs have now scored 6 runs in the fourth to break open what was a really close ball game when the inning began.
Yeah, and also Hullett has only allowed 1 earned run in this inning as well, even though there have been 6 runs put on the scoreboard. You had the grand slam, which the one went to her because of Madison Kennedy, and then the run that just scored, which was Edwards, who, like you said, Brownlee was batting, reached base because of an error.
Only 1 hit of the 5 recorded by State this at-bat came off of Nichols, who started the inning in the circle. The other 4 have come off the bat of Hewlett as Nadia Barbary puts a charge into one, and that's going to leave the yard, and that is the second grand slam of this inning. Mississippi State has scored 8 runs on 2 swings here in the fourth, and the home run derby continues here in Starkville. Bulldogs now on top 13-0.
And what a swing from Nadia Barbary. You could hear it from the crack of the bat after she hit it, and she knew it the second she got a piece of it, sends it over the fence. Give them 4.
Castro, Louisiana. Kelsey Giddens, the catcher, a 5'5" redshirt junior, so both are in their 4th year. The Giddens sisters. ULM also has the Brown sisters, Megan Brown and Morgan Brown, who are 5'5" freshman twins.
Hey, I guess when it comes to recruiting, it's a little easier, save a little money on some trips.
It's a buy one, get one free.
It is buy one, get one.
Little recruiting BOGO. Jaden Burney, the junior pinch hitter, steps up from Mississippi State. Burney's had a couple of at-bats, actually 3 at-bats on the year, 1 for 3 in those opportunities. A slapper takes it outside for a ball. The numbers on the year for Cassidy Giddens: in 8 appearances, 5 of them starts, has good numbers. A 1.58 ERA, 5 wins on the season. Burney hits that one foul. Well, you got a feel for Gianni Hewlett. Just her 2nd appearance of the season, she inherited a bad situation, and then she gives up 2 grand slams.
Yeah, I mean, she walks into the circle with bases loaded, and Madison Kennedy hits a grand slam, and after that, you kind of look at it like, all right, brand new inning, no one on base, no outs, and is able to record 2 of those outs, and then had an opportunity to get Aquana Brownlee out, but the drop ball turns into an error, And from there, a couple of hits and a couple of walks load the bases once again, and you get another grand slam.
The last 5 runs scored by MSU, all unearned. Because of that dropped pop-out by the second baseman, Edwards. Bernie draws a walk. How about that for a quality at-bat? That is the second walk earned by Bernie this year. And she has been solid in her few pinch hit opportunities this season. Now 1 for 3 with a couple of walks to give her a really good on-base percentage. That's got to make her feel good, and that'll give her coaches some confidence to keep giving her these opportunities. As guess who is now back up at the plate? Madison Kennedy, who already tonight has 2 base hits and has driven in 5 runs.
Yeah, 27 RBIs on the season is impressive. I mean, she's averaging more than an RBI a game at this point due to that grand slam, but still,
yeah, I mean, this is
it's
just
over an RBI a game.
This is just Kennedy's 22nd game played in and her 20th start. She missed some time early in the season with a nagging injury.
She came in today with a .419 batting average, and it's up to .435. I mean, who does that?
In one game.
Yeah.
And we're almost 30 games into the season. Grounder, foul, third base side. Good effort by Buck. Let's look back. Earlier this inning, this broke the game wide open. It was 4-0 at that point, and the Kennedy belts her 8th homer of the year, a grand slam. That opened the floodgates. The Bulldogs have scored 5 runs since then. They have scored 10 runs this inning on 6 hits, aided by 1 error. 8 of those runs coming on 2 swings of the bat.
Yeah, and if you didn't think that her slugging percentage could increase, well, it has.
She is
continues to rise.
She's now slugging 1.087. Hits one high, hits one deep, hits one gone! Madison Kennedy, a 2-run home run, her second home run of the inning. The Bulldogs have hit 3 home runs this inning off of 2 different pitchers. They have scored 12 runs in the 4th and now lead 15-0.
Make it 7 RBIs on the game, 29 on the season. Home run number 9 for Madison Kennedy. Wow, what a game for her. And we talk about slugging percentage increasing. Add more to it from that.
Is it too early to go ahead and put my vote in for SEC Player of the Week?
I'm not sure it's too early.
It's Wednesday. We got the SEC weekend coming up beginning on Thursday and Friday. But I'm going to go ahead and write in my vote now. Madison Kennedy, SEC Player of the Week. Have yourself a night.
I mean, 3 for 4, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs. I don't know what more you can ask for from her.
15-0. Mississippi State, 12 runs on 7 hits in this inning. As the Brookhaven, Mississippi native Kat Wallace steps up. She hits one high, fairly deep, back at the track, but Bacon makes the catch. So Wallace gave it a ride, and the inning turned it into a 15-0 rout as ULM is now down to their final 3 outs. They have the top of the order due up, Bacon, Platt, and Brown, and they'll face a brand new pitcher. The senior Matalasi Fa'apito will step in. The 3rd different Bulldog pitcher used tonight. How about that defensive stop? At second base, the brand new Bulldog second baseman Wallace makes the snag and throws to first for out number 1.
What a play from Kat Wallace. I didn't think she was going to get there in time and just snagged it out of the air and made an easy toss to first. It made it look effortless, too.
You've got Wallace now at second. Hull is your brand new first baseman. You've got Bernie as your brand new right fielder. So those are your 3 defensive changes to go along with, of course, the new pitcher in Faapito. Platt shows bunt. And she is very good at bunting her way onto base. Can do it about as well as anybody in the Sun Belt Conference. But she's behind in the count now 0-2, so the bunt no longer in play. Platt, who came in hitting almost 500 on the year, 0 for 2 tonight. That ball wasted low and outside. The count is 1-2.
The good thing for the Warhawks, it feels like best case scenario is you start this inning with the top of your lineup. So you have a lot, and I mean a lot of runs to make up. But 2 down, so we'll see what happens.
That pitch was nasty. Watch it again. Go! Just pull the string on it. How about that? Perfect. So no one on and 2 gone from Megan Brown. That ball just missed. Actually, no, they say she went around. Okay.
Yeah, it looked like the umpire at home was going to call ball, and they said ask third.
That ball short hops in front of Bernie, but you could tell Bernie, the brand new right fielder, for about a second thought, should I die for this? And then wisely decided not to in a 15-run ball game. So good job there to get on base by Megan Brown, her first hit tonight. And she'll run with 2 gone as Edwards, the Warhawks middle infielder, steps up. She's 0 for 2. Boy, just a great job by MSU's pitching staff tonight. Hitters 1 through 7 for ULM tonight have combined for 1 hit. And that 1 hit just happened.
It's been impressive. We saw a couple of innings from Marin, a couple from the freshman Delaney Everett. Both played really, really well. And now you get the vet coming in to try and close things out, who has done well so far. Already has recorded 2 outs.
This is the 6th appearance in the circle this year for Faapito. The right-hander out of California finds the corner that time at the knees for a strike. Has a slightly elevated ERA of 3.36, but teams are only hitting .215 against her on the year. She's allowed 15 hits in over 17 innings. Just issued a walk, though, so now there are 2 on with 2 gone. And the first baseman, Marissa Zinzin, will step up for ULM. This ball game now just over 2 hours old.
And a majority of that coming from the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah,
with those 12 runs scored.
The 4th inning took a minute.
I can only imagine how long that inning was.
So State almost, even if they were not thinking about making a pitching change for the 5th inning, we almost had to, because Everett sat in the dugout for so long. You really couldn't bring her back out there after that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even if your pitcher does have a rhythm or looks good out there, it's tough to bring them out because they've been sitting for so long. Your offense might be playing really well, but your pitcher has now gotten really cold because of the success of your offense.
0-2 the count. Faapito a strike away from ending the ball game here in the top of the 5th. Zin hits it out to right, foul and out of play, so we'll do it again. Zin will stay alive. Larissa Zin has been on base tonight twice. Reached on an error in the second and was walked in the fourth. There's your ball game right there. Fa'apito gets a couple of strikeouts, and she shuts the door, and Mississippi State gets in a